Hi and welcome back to RVT TV. Today we're going to be doing some makeup, so come along and get ready with me. Let's get ready. I'm gonna try and chat through it so that people can know how I do my makeup. This makeup is genuinely rehearsals and stuff like that, general tips and tricks. If you hear stuff in the background, we're in quarantine. There is a family there. Crazy, loving family that aren't gonna sit still and quiet while I film. So, first thing I always do is a moisturizer. I cannot stress enough how important moisturizer is. It's going to save your skin so much trauma. Just have a day moisturizer. No matter what, I can guarantee you it's gonna solve a lot of problems. And what people do is they do it here and they do that. That's not putting on moisturizer. Massage it into your skin, actually pressing hard. Your skin, I wouldn't say has to be red after. Mine just goes red after. I was in Japan, and before they put on makeup for shoots and stuff like that, they would put on these creams and stuff and they would massage your face, and it just made a difference. So go ahead and massage your face. And then another tip I'm going to give you is wait for it to dry, wait for it to absorb. And yes, we have a little friend, calling him Steve. Say hi to Steve and just forget about Steve. Okay, so another tip I can give you is just let it cool. Let it soak in, because otherwise it's just going to rub all your product all over the place and it's just not going to look cute. Okay, so the other thing I always do is also I have a lip serum. Hope you can see that. I use this one. It's a Luscious Lips lip serum, and if you don't have a lip serum, just use lip ice or lip balm or something to moisturize your lips. Okay, this is something I highly recommend, is a primer. Primers are extremely important in keeping your makeup on for a very long time. If you do pageants like I do, the lights melt your makeup off, so you don't need a lot. Another thing a primer does, it just smooths out your face. It fills up all those pores and allows a smooth canvas for you to apply your makeup. Letting your primer dry is also extremely important, otherwise you're just pulling it straight out of your pores and then the makeup will go into your pores instead. So a nice even canvas, use primer. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I have very deep set eyes. Now there's many different ways to combat this, different ways to go about it. I like using different color primers for different things. Now usually if it's really blue and really dark, I would use something red, but for right now I actually just want to brighten it slightly. So I'm going to be using, I want to focus, I'm going to leave my hand here. Yeah, I'm just going to be putting this right underneath my eyes just for some brightening. These products are not to say that you have to use them, you have to have them. These are just the products that I like to use and I love to use, but in no way am I saying that you have to have them. Find out what works best for you and your price range and what you got and all that. So I like using a little brush, the same brush that I usually use my foundation with, to pat it in. So you don't want to rub things in, you're just going to be smudging all that primer and that cream and making lines. So gently pat it in. Okay. As you can see, that slightly brightened this area of my face. The most important thing you want to remember is you want to brighten the center of your face. So this kind of like a scope, this area, not making the tunnel for the light to come through. That area is what you kind of want to focus the brightness on. You don't want to draw it all the way down, you're going to make your face look really long. Okay, so the next thing is foundation. Now there's so many different types of foundations out there that you can use. you get like a thick creamy one like this Yardley one. I personally only use this if I'm gonna go on stage and I need like thick makeup, otherwise it does go cakey really quickly on my skin, but other skins might actually need something a bit thicker. For me personally, I love using a bit more of a runny foundation. I also have two different foundations, a winter one and a summer one, and this is not because of my skin difference in the winter and the summer that has a part to play in it, but because my skin texture is different in the winter and the summer. So in winter my skin gets extremely dry and cracked and it's just see-through and really sensitive, so I really need a foundation that combats all of those. And then in the summer my skin is very dewy, almost I would say a bit oily, so I need a foundation that works for that. I must say the best combination one that I found that works kind of all year round is this one. This is a new one that I've been using recently and I absolutely love it. It works really well. So not only is it really smooth and you can build it up, so one layer is not enough, you just wait for it to dry and you put on another layer. That's what I love about the liquids as well. The thicker ones, they just kind of, they never dry properly, so they always kind of like stay sticky. Okay. So the same little brush that I'm going to use. Another technique, same with the under eyes, don't rub it all over your face. You want to gently dab it in and tap it in, so if there's any open pores or really deep pores, you can really pat it in there and it's not just gonna show your pores, it's really going to like cover them up. The other thing that I love doing after I've patted it all in, now some people say you didn't pat it in completely, you still rubbed it maybe slightly. I love taking my kabuki brush. It is my favorite thing in my makeup kit. It is really soft, really fluffy, so I just fluff out all the powder that's in there and kind of just clean it out a bit. And then what I go is I basically buff out my face. So if there's any harsh lines or anything like that, I'm just basically going to go and buff it out. This is not adding powder, this is not adding anything to it, it's just buffing out the foundation that we've just applied. After this, I am using concealer. This is a concealer that I've used for years and years and years and years and years, and quite honestly I don't remember not using this. And you don't want a concealer that is like the whitest shade that you can get, like 1 to 2 shades lighter than your natural skin tone, than your foundation shade. And then the same with that we applied the under eyes with here. Don't go and just apply it here underneath your eyes, and don't make the triangle like that. Like I said, we don't want a long face, we want to keep the brightness here, but we want to elongate and make our eyes look brighter and bigger. So I'm going to use this little mirror over here, hopefully you can see. So you see the curve of my eye is about here. What I want to do is I want to go past it, usually till about my nose, and then there's the curve, so I'll kind of put a dot there and it ends, that line ends there. So you're still making a triangle, but it's just facing inside your face now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm first going to buff it out. I take that same foundation brush and I just dab it in again. And then on the other side. Buff it out. There we go. That is our foundation done. So now we can actually go take our powder. I use this Yardley translucent powder. Translucent powder is going to be the best. Don't get something with color. I'm just going to lightly dip my kabuki brush in and add a layer at a time. You don't want to pack on too much powder because it's just going to crease. And I just put it right underneath my eyes where I had the concealer. This is called baking. What it does, it just helps set in, especially that very thin area of underneath the eyes. It tends to fold and crease properly, so baking that area will just help it last a lot longer. The three main brushes that I would recommend you have is something like this. It is a very round, very fluffy brush, but it's not too big. Then I have this angled fluffy brush. This is the best for blending. And then it is almost like a cone shaped brush, and this is really good for those dark colors. I'll talk more about the other brushes later. Let's just get our palette, whatever one you want. So I'm just going to take a light neutral brown on my round fluffy brush, tap off all the excess that you can, and then I'm going to try and come in. So I'm basically going to take this fluffy brush and I'm just going to go into my crease. It's fine if it goes onto your lid, that's not an issue. Like I said, this is like a light brownie for my skin tone. Specifically, it has a bit of a orangey copper tone to it. Just taken this fluffy brush and I have gone into my crease. Then I'm just going to dust it off, and I'm going to take a bit more of my like primary color. Say I really want a nice brown smoky eye. I'm going to take more of my brown color because that was a bit more of an orangey copper transition color. I'm going to take a bit more of my brown color, still a matte, and I'm going to go over my lid. Now I'm going to take, I use the same brush. By the way, you don't need a lot of makeup brushes. You can have different brushes with different colors, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. So I'm going to take this darker color, I'm going to choose like an espresso-y browny color, and I'm going to go on the outer corner. It's important to go up with your eye and not down, because you don't want to create dark shadows down and drooping your eyes down. You want to lift them up. Remember, our whole concept is like lifting them up. So here in the corner, I'm just going to move up and then across just slightly above my crease, but also in my crease. And you don't want to go all the way, just like a fraction. Then we're going to take a really fluffy brush and we're going to blend. This is the part that takes a while. Okay, now we've blended that out. That also, like the reason the powder still stayed at the bottom, because it would catch any dark powders that I use. So now we're just going to brush that away. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same little brush. I'm not going to add any more product because there is still enough on you, and I'm just going to go underneath my eye. It's important not to go all the way underneath the eye, just a fraction here at the bottom, and join it to the top. Now I'm going to go into brows. Now what I love about brows is I use a little brush like any of these two. I like using powders a lot more than I like using pencils or creams or gels, because you just have a lot more control in making it look more natural and wispy. Because you don't want squares on your eyes, you want natural brows. So you just take that and you add little hairs in the spots that are missing. And then what I like doing is I like taking a little spoolie like this, and I brush out my brows to make sure there's no any harsh lines with powder, and also then you just get to structure your shape a little bit more. And then if you really want, you can use something like this. It's the Lash and Brow like mascara gel. it's like a clear mascara basically, and it just helps set your brows in place. So if you have really uncontrollably wily brows, you can keep the stray hairs at bay. So now I'm going to move on to shimmers. I use a little brush like this, but you can quite easily use any small brush. I like using sponges, they're more precise. What I do is I take some, like a really light shimmery color, and in the corner of my eye, when I mean the corner of my eye, I literally mean the corner of my eye, I add some of it to bring the brightness to the center of my face again. The same brush, I'm going to go slightly at the bottom of my brow. I'm not going to go from there all the way to there, just at the bottom of my brow. Then if you are doing an evening wear look and you want to add a bit more of personality and a bit more of a sparkle, use the flat end of the brush and you choose a color that matches this. So not that bright color, just a nice color that matches it, maybe a coppery or a brown glitter. And then I'm going to be, let's see if I can do this. Okay, you see the pupil of my eye? That's the center of your eye, and you want to keep the glitters to this side. You don't want glitters going to that side. That's your matte shadow, that's your crease. You want to keep that matte. Like I said, shimmers and everything should stay in the middle of your face to brighten. So wherever the pupil is, stick to the nose side. So you're just going to take this, and I'm just going to pat it without being too much. Now you can take your little fluffy brush and just slightly blend it so that it's not a harsh glitter line, but I more likely just pat it in. Don't go crazy with the glitter, it's going to illuminate your eyes, and especially if you do pageants and go on stage, it's just going to look crazy. Now we're going to move on to mascara. So I'm going to take that same spoolie brush, I'm going to brush my lashes. This is going to brush out any excess product, any old mascara, anything, and just make them look very wispy and very natural. Then I cannot stress enough how important it is to curl your lashes. They just make all the difference in the world. Let me show you. So just when you curl your lashes, try and get it into the crease and then push up. You can already see the difference between this side and this side, how a curled lash almost completes the look. Then mascara. This is I won this mascara actually, Madonna. It's Madonna mascara. It actually stays on very long time, and I struggle to wash it off in the evening, so at least I know it's truly waterproof. Another tip I can give you is just clean your makeup brush, the mascara wand, to get off all that excess product. You don't want too much on there clumping up your lashes again. We've just made them nice and wispy. Start from the bottom and wiggle them up. Okay, and then we're almost done with the eyes, but for now we're going to move on to blush, contour and highlight. For contour, I like to use a small brush and try and use an ashy tone and not an orangey tone. Your face throws a natural shadow and it is more ashy than it is orange. And you'll see that you have a natural shadow here. It doesn't go all the way to there, so keep it to just there is more or less where you want to end it. You want to blend it up, and there you don't want to go all the way to your lip. Trust me, it's not going to look very cute if you have a line from there straight to there. You have a natural shadow, just stick to the natural shadow of your mouth. This does nothing. Blending your contour, blend upwards. You don't want to blend down, because that's going to create a 5 o'clock shadow, and we don't want that. Blend up. Okay, so as you can see, I went to about there and I did not go all the way, creating a real light fishy face. Kept it nice and smooth. Now with blush, excuse my broken brush, I like using a big fluffy brush that's kind of rounded, and I cannot stress this enough. So many people use shimmer blushes. Just don't. That's why we have highlight for strategic places. Yet again, use a nice matte blush. Just get a light amount of powder on there. You really don't need to rub it in, and start at the top and work it down. You don't want to go all the way to the front. You kind of want to work it to the middle of your apple, like over here, and go above that line that we just created. Now on stage, obviously sometimes you have more blush and you need to make it a bit more defined, but for rehearsals and for casual wear and for things like that, and for competitions where it's not like harsh on stage lighting, try to avoid a really dark blush and try and keep it to this general shape. That's where your blush goes. Your contour just goes here. The contour doesn't have to go all the way up. Taking one of these brushes, they actually do wonders. A lot of people complain about them, but they're great. And you just want to lightly dust it. And then if you really want, you can dab it on the tip of your nose. Please do not go all the way up and down your nose, that's just crazy. And a little bit by your lip. I have a little bit of a dimpled chin, so what I like to do is I just like to create a little bit of light on the ends so the shadow falls, because I quite like my little butt chin. So now that we've done our contour, our blush and everything, we're going to do a second coat of mascara. Yes, this time we're not going to work from the bottom up, we're actually going to go from the top and kind of lengthen our lashes. So hopefully you guys can see this. And just from the top and kind of build them up. Now to complete the eye look, you can see that I've used it a lot. I don't even know if you're going to be able to tell what brand it is or not. This is a little white eyeliner. Mine is from Essence. It's just a white eyeliner, and I'm going to put it in the waterline just a little bit, just in the center. You don't want to go all the way. See how that automatically just brightens up your eyes, makes it look wide open, and when you're very far away, it just again illuminates your eyes. Now it's time for lips. Now you can either take your same lip serum or your same lip balm. I'm going to take a lip balm and I'm going to rub these all into my lips, making them nice and soft for easy application. Important to choose something that's very neutral and that matches your skin tone. Some people look great with bright red lips, other people don't. So find something that really complements your skin tone and your skin, and if you have a cool tone or a warm tone or a neutral tone, there's different colors that you can use. And try not to use something matte. That's also why the lip balm helps. So if you do have a matte lipstick that you love, you can turn it into a cream. Softly. Okay, so there is the completed look. Very natural, very dewy, very elegant, casual makeup look. It is very, very sweet and innocent and very dewy and very fresh. With all these little tips and tricks that I've shared with you today, hopefully you guys can achieve it as well, and avoiding those some mistakes that I have mentioned before. Bye guys.